Welcome back to the sessions. We are going to very good evening, all of you. Today, so far we have seen in the last session we have seen how to work with the elastic beanstalk. So I hope all the stuff whatever I have delivered, I hope you guys are following. You are practicing also. If any doubts you are getting, you can feel free to ask your question in the comment section. Okay, so please try to share and like the video, give the comments if you have any queries, share to the needy people, right? And moreover, today I would like to give you the information regarding how we can perform CRUD operations using AWS DynamoDB. So that is the agenda of making this video. So to do this, to work with the AWS DynamoDB, first of all, what is DynamoDB? It is of course a service, okay, which is provided by AWS. Okay, so you may ask one question. See, what are the advantages of using DynamoDB? So first of all, it is a NoSQL database designed to run high performance applications at any scale, and it is fully managed and serverless. Okay, all these are the key points which you need to remember while you're working with the DynamoDB itself. And it offers many features like built-in security, continuous backups, automated multi-region replication, so in-memory caching, so many highly advanced features we are able to utilize by taking or by using this DynamoDB as your advantage. As your database itself. So now, how we can work with respect to this DynamoDB? For this, what we have to do? So those are the points you need to understand, right? So for this, first, what is the first step you have to perform? So that is one thing you need to understand. So the first step is just open the AWS your AWS account first. That is the first point. Sign into the console, and in this we supposed to go to the IAM user. Okay, we need to create the user and as well as user group. Okay, so here you already, when you clicked on the users, already one user is there. Now I want to create one more user. So how we can create? Click on the add users. Okay, dynamo underscore user underscore one, any name you can give. Just I'm trying to give you the unique names. Click on the next. Okay, now here you need to click on the attach policies directly. Okay, so now here which policy you have to attach to this user. Administrator access I am trying to give. You just check in that and just click on the next. So and after finally, please try to click on the create user button, so then your user gets created itself. After that, now I want to create the user group also. Already one existing group is there. Now I want to create one more group. So what is that group name? Anything you can give. Already what is that name we have? Dynamo access group. And now I want to give that one. Dynamo, okay, underscore access underscore group underscore one. So which thing you want to for this user, for this group, I want to attach a user which you just now created. I want to attach to this group to this user. Okay, I am attaching a user to this particular group which I am creating. Okay, that is why I am just checking this. And what permissions you need? DynamoDB permissions you need. Okay, for this particular group, DynamoDB. Okay, let me click on this. DynamoDB. Amazon DynamoDB full access I am providing to this particular group. Whenever you are providing the policy or policy to this particular group, since that is attached to the user, for that particular user also, to that particular user also these permissions are going to be granted. So if I click on this user, Dynamo user underscore one, you see administrator access is there. Amazon DynamoDB full access is also there. So finally we have done with this okay, user creation and as well as what, user group creation also. Dynamo access group underscore one also we have created, dynamo underscore user underscore one, two things are done. Now once it is done, so now try to like what, go to the dynamo database from here, DynamoDB database. Let me go to the DynamoDB. Here we can create the tables. Already before that I have one more table is there. Now I want to like what, create one more table with the name of, for example, create table. Okay, create table. Any table you can create. For example, here student product. Okay, product is not at okay, product. One second. Any table you can use. For example, please wait. Okay, product one I am going to give this table name as what, product one, because otherwise okay, person, okay, person one I am giving, just simply I am just giving like that. Okay, because previously I have created, that is why I am just changing like you can give person for the first time. Okay, person id I am giving. What is my table name, tell me? Person one. What is my partition key? That means it is acting as a primary key itself. I'm just making this as a string only. So ultimately my table name is person one. My partition key is what? Person id itself. So now once it is done, let me click on the create table itself. So then table is getting created. Okay, so then table is getting created. Already person table is there. That is why I am creating the person one table by giving the person id as my primary key value. So now once it is done, now I wanted to like what, open the Spring Boot application. Now I wanted to like what, open the Spring Boot application. So already the Spring Boot application is with me. Let me try to delete this, and I wanted to like what, show you. Okay, so that you will get more clarity. I am going to like what, create the starter project, Spring Boot DynamoDB. Okay, com.example is my base package, and a Java version 8 jar file, Maven, and everything is fine. Click on the next. I am adding Lombok and as well as what, Spring Web. Click on the next and click on the finish. That's it, right? So then the project is getting created. Now one by one I wanted to show you what we have to do. So since we are working with the DynamoDB, we need a DynamoDB related dependency also we required. So DynamoDB API Maven dependencies. Please open the MEN repository, go to the latest version. Okay, just copy this, come back to here, open the pom.xml file. Okay, under this dependency, try to like what, add this. Okay, try to like what, add this. Okay, once it is getting added, we can observe those Amazon DynamoDB related dependencies also. You can find out. You can find out from here itself. Oh, from where actually it was there? I think Spring JSON. So Spring test. Where are the? 1 second. Sir. 1 second. 1 second, guys. So okay, so yeah, it is just taking some time. It is just taking some time, but still I'm not seeing any Maven related dependencies. AWS Java SDK. Let me try to refresh. So where are the AWS related jars are there, man? I think AWS Java SDK DynamoDB. I think somewhere or there, not sure, but we'll see. While we are doing the program also, we'll get a chance to like what, see. Yeah. Here it is there. AWS Java SDK. These are all the dependencies which are related to this particular thing. Okay. So now what we have to do is, we have to like what create the packages and all. So to keep the different classes and controllers and all this stuff. So once the dependencies are clear, come to the src main java, close this pom.xml file. Under src main java, we are going to create the different packages. So the first package is com.example.config to keep the configuration file. So with that configuration file only, we are going to connect with the DynamoDB. Okay, and I forgot to like what explain. Whenever you create this users, right? Whenever you create this user, previously we have created the user and then user group, right? So I forgot to tell you one thing. In this users, the user which I have created is dynamo underscore user underscore one, that I attach to the user group. But I forgot to like what mention you here. When you click on this user, go to the security credentials and try to like what create the access key. Click on that create access key. Here under use case, choose command line interface, acknowledge this, click on the next, and don't give it is a description tag value, it is not mandatory. You just click on the create access key, so that you will get the access key and as well as what secret access key. So these things are useful while we are connecting with the DB from our Spring Boot application itself. So I am just copying Control V, and the secret access key also I am just copying from here. Okay, let me click on the show and then copy it, come back to here, and secret access key. This access key and secret access key I am going to like what reuse while I am doing the application, especially in the configuration. Okay, so now followed with this, I am going to create one more package, com.example. What is that? Tell me. Repository. Under src main java, I am going to like what click on the package com.example.controller. All these are required, right? And entities are also required. New, define one more package com.example.entity. Okay, com.example.entity itself. This is what we required, right? This is what we required. And now this is the main package, and let me try to refresh once so that all these are going to be arranged neatly. Okay, so now first let me ready with the entities itself. Let me define the class as a person. Okay, so person.java, and person is having one more class. I'm creating the address itself. Coming back to like what public class person. So private string person ID. Okay, private. Okay, string first name, private string last name, private string email, private address. Okay, address. So like this I am defining. First of all, this is a to represent this entity, I mean this class, as something like entity class. Actually, if it is a Spring Data JPA, you can use @entity. But since we are working with respect to DynamoDB, we are going to like what add @ DynamoDB table itself, DynamoDB table. But here we have to like what give the table name as there what we have given. There what we have, I think person one, right? Yeah, the same one we have to like what give it here. And one more thing is, along for each and every property we need to like what generate getters and setters, argument, all are constructors, no are constructor, all these are very much common, right? Save it. So once it is done, and here person ID is auto generated, and moreover it is a primary key. So to represent that, we are going to like what use DynamoDB hash key, and moreover it is an auto generated. To make it happen, DynamoDB auto generated key. These two annotations we have to apply on top of the person ID, and for the remaining columns we are going to apply one attribute, one annotation, that is a DynamoDB attribute. DynamoDB attribute for the remaining columns. Let me copy this, Control C, okay, Control V, on top of the last name, on top of the email, on top of the address. But then what about address? This address will be injected into this person class. Address is not going to be created as special table, but the thing is, just go to the address to represent. This is something like, acting as a documenter to that particular person, one table itself. So to make it happen, what we have to do is, inside this address, just consider private, okay, string city name, okay, private string, okay, country name. Just for sample, I am just defining these two things. Control V, DynamoDB attribute, Control V. These are the two DynamoDB attributes, and this particular address is DynamoDB document, okay, DynamoDB document, and followed by Lombok annotation, @data, @all constructor, @no constructor itself. These things you have to like what should follow, especially with respect to this address classes. Since this is going to be injected into this person, you are not going to like what define this DynamoDB table, DynamoDB document you have to use. Along with that, remaining things are common itself. So with this, we have done with the person.java and as well as what address.java itself. Okay. So once entities are over, now we have to like what define the controller class. First of all, to work with, for example, if I am working with the Spring JDBC module, there I am going to like what use JDBC template to talk to the database itself. When I am working with Spring ORM module, Hibernate template I am using. So even while you are working with Spring data also, JPA repository, on top of the JPA repository, we are going to like what connect with the DB and all that stuff. In the same manner, here also DynamoDB mapper is required. Okay, the DynamoDB, I mean to say, under repository, from the repository, inside the repository, we are going to like what create the instance of DynamoDB mapper. With the DynamoDB mapper, we are able to like what perform the DB operations, which are going to be affected on top of your AWS DynamoDB table itself. So it's fine. Now, what I want after entity classes, I wanted to like what show you. So simply what I am doing, let me define this new class, person repository. Simply I am defining person repository. Since it is the repository, @repository, let me save this. Okay, I am just creating the skeleton. Okay, person controller, and this class must be annotated with @rest controller. Let me save this. Okay, com.example.config, here class person configuration, any name you can give. Since it is a configuration class, it must be annotated with configuration. So as I said, we need a we need DynamoDB mapper, right? We need a DynamoDB mapper. So that is why what I am doing, I am going to like what define one method where that method is returning the DynamoDB mapper object. So that is why that particular method, public DynamoDB mapper, okay, DynamoDB mapper is the method, and this method must be annotated with @bean itself, @bean. Let me save this. And since it is returning this, see here, this is very important. You please try to focus on this okay, configuration class. Okay, return new DynamoDB mapper. Okay, since if you are observing DynamoDB mapper is expecting Amazon DynamoDB object, so that's why we have to like what define a method, okay, where that method is returning this Amazon DynamoDB object. So that's why we are going to like what prepare any method, build Amazon Dynamo, okay, DynamoDB itself. This is the method I'm just calling, so that it is returning you Amazon DynamoDB object to this particular DynamoDB mapper constructor. So ultimately, whenever somebody invoking this DynamoDB mapper, it returns the DynamoDB mapper object. All right, when I am create method, yeah, like this. So here the actual stuff you need to like what define. So here this method you have to like what constructed in such a way it is returning Amazon DynamoDB object itself. So for to do this, just observe the code, return, okay, Amazon, okay, DynamoDB DynamoDB client builder is there, DynamoDB client builder. So on top of this particular class, you are going to like what call the standard method. On top of this with endpoint configuration. Okay, that endpoint configuration is again expecting the endpoint configuration object. Okay, with the endpoint configuration object. So now what I have to do is, okay, just here you just observe here with endpoint configuration. Now we have to like what pass to this particular method with endpoint configuration. We have to like what pass endpoint configuration object. How we can get that endpoint configuration object? We are going to like what create new AWS client. Okay, AWS client builder. So this one you have to use AWS client builder. Okay, not this. AWS client builder dot, okay, endpoint configuration. It is expecting the service endpoint and it is expecting the signing region. So signing region is very simple. For example, if you go to your what we can say AWS account, your signing region is something like not here. When you go to the DynamoDB, you can observe what is your signing region is something like. So see here Mumbai it is saying. When I click on this, Asia Pacific Mumbai AP-South-1, this is the signing region. So that signing region you have to like what give here. What is that? Tell me. AP-South-1. And with respect to this particular signing region, we have to like what give this we have to like what construct the service endpoint itself. Based on that, what is that construction, what is that naming convention? DynamoDB, okay, dot us sorry, DynamoDB dot AP-South-1, okay, dot Amazon, okay, Amazon AWS.com. This is how exactly we can construct. This is not prepared by me. Okay, this is already available in the official documentation. You can please cross check it once. Based on the region how we can construct. Okay, so once it is done, you just close this, and after this, okay, you are already closing, and after this, okay, on top of this with the credentials I am passing. Okay, with credentials again, this with credentials is expecting what? Okay, with credentials it is expecting, one second, AWS credentials provider object it is expecting. That object how we can get it? Directly it is not possible. By passing new AWS static credentials provider is there. So if you refer that, so that particular AWS static credentials provider object expecting what? You just observe here. Okay, let me delete this. What it is expecting? Tell me. AWS credentials itself. So this AWS credentials object how we can pass? All these things you need to like what remember. Okay, new basic AWS credentials. Yeah, this one, new basic AWS credentials. Here we have to like what pass access key and then secret access key. You have to like what pass that. Okay, you have to like what pass that. And finally you have to like what call the build method. That's it. So what we have to pass? Tell me. Here access key that I already copied here, right? While I was creating that security key, copy the access key, come back to like what here and pass here, and in the same manner what is that? A secret access key also. Just copy this. Let me copy and come back to here, come back to the Eclipse and then Control V. So in this way we are able to like what prepare this particular build Amazon DynamoDB method. So ultimately we are able to like what get this DynamoDB mapper object. Save it, Control A, Control Shift F to align the code itself. I hope you all understood. Okay, so once you done with this configuration class, now we are going to like what define the controller class. Since controller class always must be annotated with first let me check with the post mapping. Okay, so remaining things for the time being you can try to like what perform. If anybody is getting any issues, you can ask me in the comment section. Okay, so now in the person controller, first now I am focusing on the post mapping itself. How we can do that? So since always this controller can be communicated with the service layer, but since we don't have a service layer, um, we can talk to the repository layer itself. So that is the reason we are auto wired. Okay, now private, come on please, private. What is that repository we have? Person repository, right? Person repository, that's it. Okay, we auto wide this, and we are going to like what define the method where it is returning the person object. So for that, public person object, it is giving me get person, okay, or else save person. Since we are passing the person object as a request body, these things are the fundamentals. I hope you already aware. Person itself, okay, click on this, and since it is returning what, return on top of the person repository, we are going to like what, call the save method and pass the person object. But save method is available inside the person repository. Inside the person repository, okay, person is already available inside this entity. Let me click on this save method, but save method is not available inside the person repository. So you have to like what, define this inside the person repository. And what logic you have to like what, define inside this? Since I already told you, this repository is depending, I mean, this repository layer can communicate to the database by using DynamoDB mapper. So that is the reason we have to like what, auto wire this with respect to DynamoDB mapper itself. Okay, DynamoDB mapper, okay, DynamoDB mapper. So like this I am auto wiring, and inside this we are going to like what, DynamoDB mapper dot, okay, which method you have to call, save method, and pass the person object and return person object only. Okay, in return I am returning person object only. This is how exactly we can work with this. Inside the person class, what we have, tell me? Person ID is auto generated, first name, last name, email, address, and person control, and already you gave the table name as person1 here, and everything it is done, right? So if I am running this application, you can get a chance to like what, observe here. Let me try to like what, run as Spring Boot app. So we'll run it and then we will observe it whether it is working or not. Okay, so right, it got started in the port number 8080. How exactly a JSON object looks like, tell me? If it is a JSON object, assume if it is a JSON object. Now I am copying from here. Tell me, let me okay, just come back to here. Let me control, okay, save it. So in the person, what we have, tell me? Person ID, first name, last name, email, address, right? Okay, just to open the this one, localhost 8080 / person itself, right? So that is what I am giving. Oh my god, I forgot to like what, give at the rate of request mapping. Sorry, it's a post mapping, right? Post mapping, and followed by person you have to give, save it. So since it is in running mode, what I do is, let me stop this, and once again I'll try to run as Spring Boot app. We'll see. Yeah, it got started now. Now just come back to here, 8080 person, and post, it is a post type, body is a raw JSON, and first name, last name, email, address, everything is fine, right? When I click on this sender, so you just observe here, right, you just observe here, person ID, first name, last name. Person ID is auto generated, first name, last name, email, and then address, everything is going to be inserted itself. So if you really want to like what, check in our DynamoDB, just click on the tables. Let me click on the person one, and here you can observe, I think where is the data, man? Okay, one second, let me click on the indexes. No, not here. Monitor, global tables, backups, where is the data? Exports and streams, additional settings. Okay, once again I'll do one thing, just click on the tables, person one, I'm just clicking on the person one. Items, actually the data is available in the items itself. Okay, hold on. Okay, somewhere the data is available. 1 second, no? Okay, 1 second. Let me click on the dashboards. I think somewhere it was there. It got inserted. We don't have any issue, but I am not able to show you where exactly the data is available. Okay, Amazon resource name as the table. Yeah. Explore table items is there na. Click on this explore table items. That's it. Here you can see this is the person ID, city name, and all these things. When you click on this, whatever the data you are passing, it is there here itself. So in this way, we are able to like what work with the DB operations. I mean, using DynamoDB itself. See here we worked with what only insert. I mean post mapping. In the same manner, you can perform get the student, get the person by ID. You can delete it. You can update all these things. You can do it. So that is just take that one as an assignment and try to like what do it. Okay. So if you are getting any issues while you are working with this DynamoDB, feel free to ask me. Okay, so please try to like what practice whenever while you are watching the videos along with me. Try to like what practice. Then only you will get more confidence and then clarity. And moreover, whatever I am showing you with respect to Amazon and all these things, this is very updated. So with the very new console, only it is getting. I am just trying to like what creating these videos. So okay, so hope you can utilize in a proper way and then be an expert. Okay, so please try to like the video. Okay, share to needy people and subscribe my channel for the upcoming videos. Okay, thank you.